7:05, and I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the remote participation text. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirements that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom, its meeting ID number of 840-0877-2826, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting during business hours. All right, so like I said, called the meeting to order at 7:05. And we do have a quorum, so this is great. I'd like to go ahead and have the members look at the agenda. Is there any correction, amendment, or whatever? The agenda look good as written? I see Julie shaking her head, so that's good. Can I get a motion to accept the agenda as written?
I will make a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Excellent. That was Colleen.
Second.
All right,
Yes.
let's do roll call. Bear with me. I've just moved everybody around. Julie,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Jess,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. So are all in favor. Great. Next is minutes.
Janet, Jason's here too.
Oh, and
so-
Jason, there he is. I'm sorry, I didn't see. All right, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. All right, excellent. So like I say, we're all in unison here, whatever, yeah. All right, next is approval of the minutes from 6/28/2023, the open meeting. I reviewed it. I did not see any correction that I had. Did anybody see anything on these minutes? All right, then can I get a motion to accept the minutes as written? Excellent job again, Jess. All
You're welcome.
right, so moved by, was that Colleen?
No, it was Julie and I will second it.
Okay, all right, Julie first and Colleen seconds. Let's do roll call. Jason?
I was not there, so.
Okay. That's, all right, no problem. All right. Colleen?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Jess?
Aye.
And chair says aye, so it has been approved. All right, excellent. Next is correspondence and invoices. It's been an interesting couple of weeks.
I think next was public participation.
Oh, is it? Oh, I got public participation is after that. All right. I'm sorry. Did I?
Oh, wait, no, you're right. Never mind. I was wrong.
That's okay. That's all right. No problem. They're probably both going to intersect anyways.
Okay.
With the correspondence, I've been trying to get, remember I said at the last meeting that I wanted to get the balances of the CPC, of the fund itself, of the CPA fund. So I've been going back and forth with Carrie as well as town departments and such to make sure that we've got, more, making sure the balances are correct and such. I should say it that way. And I went ahead and we do have, let's see, I did get the balances, and the reason I'm probably putting a cart before the horse, but I don't know if I went ahead and I sent to you all the balances. I know that I sent a lot of documentation to you all. But Jess, I'll send it over to you, but I'll just go ahead and I will get,
I have a copy of something. If it's the same, I already have it.
okay, it should be as of the most current one. Well, let's see. Hold on. Did this again. Bear with me. The most current one that I just got from Carrie is from July 18th. Is the one that you have from July 17th?
Yes,
Okay, so let's talk about that one, because I think that's the one that I sent to everybody.
Yeah.
July 17th, we've got a total balance with left in open space. And I'll just state it. Excuse me, of $979,674.02. In community housing, we have $279,358 even. Historic, we've got $75,550.39. In reserve, and that's the monies that are that are coming into the fund of $1,633,188.23. I'm sorry, the print is getting smaller as I'm getting older. And then the undesignated is $754,533.75. The addition, or so the total of being of $3,722,304.39. The difference between the one spreadsheet and the one that I asked Carrie to fix up is on the balances. She has $150,000 for the old fire station as being one of the annual town meeting awards. Again, I'm trying to clean up, like say, the books. That total amount should be 190,000. It didn't get carried over to that spreadsheet, so we've got a removal of 50,000 or $40,000 more, because the 40,000 was for the housing and the 150 was for historic. So with that, I've gone ahead and I've looked at each single one of these numbers to make sure the projects that are still outstanding. I've asked the respective departments or the awardee where it stands, and it looks as if the projects right now, out of the 7 that are still I think it's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7 that are ongoing, or that still have balances. 3, the digitization, the Sandy Pond School, as well as the Flanagan Pond feasibility study are still ongoing. I still haven't heard back from, there's still money left over from historical for the inventory. There's money left over from the howitzer. There's still some money left open with regards to the open space and rec plan. And then there's money left over from the perimeter path. So I need to hear back from, like I say, those 4 departments or, like I say, awardees, to find out what's happening. The reason, again, I wanted to make sure that we had, a good updated balance, because we knew that later on in the meeting today, we're going to be hearing from the Housing Trust looking for funding. And again, if it doesn't come out of the category, it'll have to come out of the reserves. Also, too, there is something that I stated during our last meeting, that with regards to the playground, I had not signed off of any invoices for the playground, either the remediation or the equipment and such. And with that, when I checked a little bit further with Town Hall, it looks as if the monies, as soon as that they were approved by town during the town meetings, since it is a capital project, got moved into the capital project balance, or the bucket. So the checks have really been written from there. So what I ended up doing is I sort of put a doorstop to say CPC needs to see these invoices to make sure that we know how the monies are being spent, et cetera. So with that, approximately 216, I'll get that number for you in a second, $216,000 had been spent from the CPC allotment for the remediation. Let me get that number, Jess, and I do apologize. I thought I had it all here available. And with that, there was additional monies going to be awarded for the equipment. So I wanted to, again, get that invoice. And we do have the invoice and the equipment. I put all these, the list of the equipment, the site plan, the some of the additional pictures and everything out on the CPC's, I didn't say I didn't do it, I asked Cindy to do it, out on the CPC's website, at the town's website, underneath the playground project, of being the additional documents that are now available, so that the town can go ahead and see what's the plan, the gradient, the materials and such for the playground itself, how it's going to, be laid out. So again, I know I'm going through this quickly, so I'll keep quiet in a few seconds. The quote for the playground equipment, the landscaping structures and such, is for $404,378.90. Like you say, the list of the equipment is on the site as well. I think it's like about 3 pages long. And with that, I was able to give a sign off of that $404,378.90. But we still are trying to get a fit back at whatever the pouring plays are and such.
Hey, Janet,
Go ahead, Jason.
I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
When you're saying we,
So
are you
it's a
talking?
breakdown. Well, we as the park commission and you,
Okay.
the parks department, is the breakdown like at town hall with the accounting department, or should we have the invoices run through Jeff and then CC you as they get sent to accounting? What do you want? What do you need from us to make sure that we're doing the right thing?
Carrie and Robert and I discussed it, and and told Jeff that he needs to CC me, and that's already been happening. It's already, like I say, that's how I got.
Thank you.
Yeah. So no, thank you, Jason. I again, I didn't realize, because usually the invoices come through CPC, and I'll go ahead and look at it, and it's like, okay, great. If there's a question, I bring it up to the group, and then Robert signs off on it. But since it all got thrown into the capital budget, I wasn't, again, we weren't being privy to it, and it was good that it was brought up, that because I probably wouldn't have caught it. It would have just gone. And then the other item was just the layout of what was being planned. I know that, again, Jason, when we were talking, everything was preliminary because you got the RFPs going out there and such. Until you get something solid, it's difficult to present, just what the plans are. But as things become more solid, that's the stuff that really needs to get shared. And I think I even told Jeff to make sure that the parks site on the town's website is updated. And he said he's going to be doing that as things, get solidified. Does that make sense?
Oh, Janet, Pauline's got her hand up.
Yep, okay. In a second. I just want to make sure if it made sense for the committee of,
Yeah.
what's going on. Okay. All right. And that's why I said, I knew public participation. Pauline, go ahead.
Janet, I'm sorry to interrupt, but welcome back, first of all. Quick question. If I heard you correctly, and I'm not saying I did, the information about the funding and invoices and expenses for the playground project are on the CPC website page under Playground Project Phase 2, which is the only thing I see.
Right, it's the phase 2. All right, and
There are a lot of subcategories, but I didn't see any invoices
one says
or
plan,
expenses.
one says planning documents. And there should be 4 documents that are zipped, I believe, inside that one.
Under documents, yes, there are. Presentation, proposed plan, proposed images, planning documents. That's where I want to go.
That's where you go. And then with that, I don't have I don't have all the invoices out there.
That's fine. I just
yeah,
want to
it's-
make sure I go to the right place. I will
Yeah.
certainly check in back with you if I have any other questions. I don't want to take time for your meeting.
Okay, all right,
Thanks.
no problem. Yeah. All right, so with that, again, I found out something new because this is the first time I've ever had monies, I think CPC, maybe you guys can correct me, but the CPC monies just get thrown into another bucket and spent that way. Usually it's, done invoice by invoice. So again, it no matter what, it's always a learning curve one way or another. So I think with that, I've learned, like I say, other questions that need to be asked. So
Janet?
go ahead.
You had mentioned, you went through the figures for open space, et cetera, and you had referenced July 17th, and then you also referenced July 18th.
Correct.
Did you get different figures for July 18th?
The only figure that's different, bear with me.
Okay.
Okay. I got, yeah, I shouldn't really say it that way. Yeah, I do. It's less money that we do have in total. We were looking at here. Can I, Cindy? Can I share?
One moment, please.
Okay. I'll send it to you all.
You're good to go.
So this is as of 7/18, because what she ended up doing is the original one still had, let me go back over on this side.
So open space went up.
Because it also added in this is what we started off with. That's the number from 17. Okay. 317, right? The 377, 722, 304.
Yeah.
Right. So what she ended up doing is she also added or changed the articles as well as adjusted the balances.
Okay.
Okay. So open space did go up, but it does have the removal of the 750 for for the park.
Okay, wait, so,
I moved that back over, sorry.
excuse me, so the 1,089,000 takes into account that there's no longer the 750,000 in there?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll send this on to everybody. It's only going to be this tab, but yeah. Did you take a picture or do you want me just, no, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, all right. So again, these are things that, you know, just keep an eye out on, and I'll make sure that when I get the updates from the other four committees that we'll update the balances. So again, the ongoing projects, those are some of the correspondence too that I've heard back from and such. I also sent an email to Jen Golson with regards to the 5-year plan, because we've never really received that final printout, or, you know, the final copy. So she was on vacation, and hopefully I hear from her this week. All right. I think that's about it. Anybody else have anything else for correspondences? Anything? All right. One of the other correspondents, Jess and Robert and I have been going through the grant agreements, and I have semi-finished them up. Robert did request that we bring everything up to date so that the dates, other than the dates from when it got awarded at town meeting, you know, be brought up to the, you know, August 2023 dates. So I'll be finishing that up as well, and then I'll send it on to the group, and hopefully we can get these all signed by beginning of September. So that's part of the old business for the grant agreement. They are still being polished up. All right, anything else for old business that people want to bring up? I'm hearing crickets. I'm going to move on to the new business. All right, and thank you very much, Jeff, and Alicia for being patient. Let me stop sharing this. And we have I believe you all have the application from the Affordable Housing Trust to ask for additional funds at the fall town meeting for rental assistance as well as acquisition funding. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to the interim chair of Jeff Tillotson.
Thank you very much. Did we skip public input?
Well,
Sorry, Janet.
No,
I
no,
don't mean
that's,
to do
no,
it
no,
to
no,
you.
no, 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 it's like, I know we did get public input with regards to Pauline. If there's anybody else for public input before we move on to that? Again, I'll just reiterate, if the public, if you're out here watching this at a later date, eating popcorn and enjoying a nice hot cup of tea, just go ahead, and if you've got questions, please give a contact over to Carly over at the number provided at the beginning, 772-8220, extension 100, and ask the question, or just you can email at cpc@ayer.ma.us, and we'll be able to get back in touch with you. All right. Okay, that sounds great. All right.
Yeah, sorry about that, Madam
No?
Chair. I just,
You just being Jeff, go for it.
hey. So first things first, I want to say thank you to the CPC for letting me speak this evening on behalf of the application. There's two portions to this application, and I think Colleen spent some time with you all earlier in the month or early last month discussing this, and I do appreciate the feedback we got. The Area Affordable Housing Trust. As you know, a couple of years ago, you were very gracious and funded us at $30,000. We were able to handle 6 families for the year. In the following year, we doubled that to a $60,000, and we have 10 families who are looking for Ayer rental assistance. That's the Ayer rental assistance program, where a family who qualifies can get $6,000 a year in rental assistance. Do you need me to go through what the rental assistance program is, or are we all pretty comfortable with it?
I know I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Okay. In short, in really short, the 30-second, the 1-floor elevator conversation is qualifying families can get up to $6,000 for 3 years for rental assistance for a qualifying unit here in Ayer. I think that probably sums it up fairly quickly. We've gone back and forth. I mean, we're new to this. We don't know how much we can handle. And in working with the Community Development Department, Alicia Hersey, $72,000 seems to be the right amount that she can oversee and we can do. And that would increase our number of families we can help to 12 families. We did have that many applications at the end of last year, I believe. So that, I can't be exact on the applications because they're kind of floating. They start, they stop. Some people complete them. Some people don't complete them. Some people don't qualify. Other people come in. So given that we only have 2 years of data, we've been oversubscribed the 2 years we've had, the conversation pretty much reflects that this is kind of where we need to be with the current staffing and stuff like that. So we'd really appreciate if you would seriously consider increasing the CPA funding for the Ayer rental assistance program to $72,000. And the trust. I'm going to move on to I'm actually working on page 4 of the application. That's where the numbers are. And so, and that $72,000, one last thing I'd like to say is 100% of the money is used to support Ayer families who qualify. The administration of the program is done by the Ayer Office of Community and Economic Development. Alicia Hersey does that work, and it is an in-kind part of her job. So the trust is not charged in any way, shape. It was not charged any monies for her overseeing the program. Then, oh, thank you, Janet.
You're welcome.
My computer screen just blinked. I thought, oh, my internet went down. It's going to be a wonderful evening. If you could scroll down a little farther, yeah. The total we're requesting is $200,000 this year. I just have the matrix up on my screen, so thank you. And then the trust got talking. So we're discussing what the trust needs to be doing going forward. And one of the charters of the trust is to start looking at and acquiring more housing for more affordable housing for the town. And we got to start somewhere. So it was decided by the trust to come forward and ask for some money to start to set aside so that should something come up that we could take action on around affordable housing, we would have some funds in order to go forward and do that. And really, the best way I can describe it is if we have funds set aside that we can use to take an action, we don't then have to wait for the next town meeting to get permission for the funds, and we may lose an opportunity to acquire housing. Did I explain that correctly?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's really what the additional $128,000 is for. If you ask me right now, we haven't got our eye on anything that I'm aware of, but that could change. So that brings us to the total funding request this year of $200,000. I don't really have a planned presentation. Any questions I can take, or did I miss anything? Please let me know.
I have a question.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Jess.
Jess.
One would be when we set up the conservation fund, commission went through its procedures and to use that fund, we would, I think we agreed that we would have to have a public hearing, even though we would be independent of town meeting, but we would still have to have public input and public presentation. Would that be the same for the housing trust?
I would like to, Jess, I actually made, and I'm going to use the word assume, and I should never assume, but I can't imagine us doing anything without a hearing. I just don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I can get the answer for you, Jess. We're kind of in the baby steps right now. We're trying to figure out, I think Janet said earlier, it's a learning experience. The good news is I think we've been able to help some families, and what we're trying to do is figure out what the next steps are. I'll also put out there that there's currently an empty opportunity on the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust. Jake Driscoll was with us. He got deployed. He's not back as far as we know. And his appointment ran out while he was gone. So I'm going to make a shameless plug, if anybody's watching eating popcorn, that we've got an opportunity for somebody to join the Housing Trust. And please contact either me or contact Carly Antonellis, or you can go online for the town and get it's called a letter of interest for it. Sorry to get off the line. Alicia, I don't know if you heard that question from
Yeah,
Jess.
I'm gonna just step in, if I can, before you, Alicia, and after the PSA announcement.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay, no problem. Jess, I know that when we, the community, the Ayer Affordable Housing Committee created the Housing Trust, one of the things that we did agree to, and I'm going to double check, with the bylaw, is that before any type of, land or property or whatever is purchased, that there would be a public meeting or public hearing, so that, again, the public is aware of how these funds are being used. So with that, I know that that was one of the requirements.
Yeah, so I would just say here, that should also be a stipulation.
Correct, and I believe if we, again, we'll go ahead and make sure that it's in the agreement. All right.
And
Alicia?
Madam Chair, I'm actually looking at the Housing Trust bylaw right now, just trying to find that, but it's not a good use of my time right now.
All right. Alicia, is there anything that you wanted?
I was just gonna support what you said. I remember us doing that too. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I think we put it in the bylaw, and I know we discussed it, and so that is not a problem for a stipulation if you want to do that.
Okay.
I would prefer it, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, it's almost like it's a given, because again, this is something that we'd want public's input. And seeing that we're doing public service announcements currently right now with regards to future of housing in Ayer, tentatively, we're going to narrow it down more, but October 19th, that evening at Town Hall, we want to have a public forum. This is October 19th, to discuss the future of housing in Ayer, because we've been throwing out some new ideas as being the Affordable Housing Committee, as well as a working group that's looking at some of the zoning charts and tables, as well as the Housing Trust, as well as we have a new planning
Town planner.
Town planner. I was going to say planning department director. Yeah, town planner. And with that, it's nice to go ahead and be able to get the think tanks going, so that we know that we need affordable housing. That was one of the things that, Jess, you pointed out at last meeting of our surveys, our feedback from the town when we were looking at the 5-year plan, is that open space and community housing were up there as being almost 50% of the requests for funding, to make
I
sure
think that was you who pointed that out at the last meeting.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. And it was stated at the last meeting, that it's important that we meet the needs of the community that's requesting it. And if this is the case for affordable housing, how can we get there? What does it look like? Is it a smaller house on a smaller lot? Is it more dense units that have shared walls? Things like that. So we had a real good meeting at the beginning of the Affordable Housing Committee. This was back in, I believe, Alicia, you can correct me, 2018. And that's what started, like, say, a lot of these endeavors. So with that, October 19th as my PSA. All right. So go back to the application. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and actually, we're starting to see some motion on accessory dwelling units too, which is another piece of the puzzle. Again, done with if there's any questions from anybody on, I don't know what you want me to tell you about. I mean, I think we've gone through the application. And I'm happy to read to you the responses to some of the questions on it, but I'm hoping I paraphrased it fairly succinctly.
I mean, the only thing that I have inside my brain is, $128,000 when you've got properties that are going for 1.8 million in town. It's like, okay, great. It might be a nice little carrot saying, okay, we've got this funds. Let's go ahead and see what other type of funding. So, you have that as a leverage. So it's a quick response to properties that are, that might be available. But I also, from last month's meeting, we may even address this further, depending upon if this goes to town meeting in the fall and how the town, reacts to it. May look for something, because the the conservation fund has $500,000 in there. And that's a good chunk of change that can be used. It might be good to do the same thing with the housing trust, so that it does have a good chunk of change. But this is a good start. Okay.
Madam Chair, if I got your numbers correctly, you were talking earlier about the three categories that have money in it and the reserve. I didn't jot down the reserves, but currently housing, I think it's 279 and change, 279, 378 or something like that. I mean, to be honest with you, the commission, the housing trust wrestled with this number.
The housing trust with what? I'm sorry.
We wrestled with what the number should be.
Oh, no, I would imagine. That's why I said it's a good start.
And it's kind of like a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would look for other funding opportunities. I mean, we don't know we don't have the crystal ball. We don't know what it's going to hold, but it gives us a little bit it gives us something we can enter into a conversation seriously with another NOAA or something like that, should it come down the road. Yeah. So that's really what it's, and I have a feeling that if this is something that is well received by town meeting, we'll probably continue to make a request like this over time. I mean, as we know, conservation has funding. If it happens, if the opportunity presents itself, you can move.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah, that was the only thing. Yeah. Again. All right. Does anybody else have anything to mention?
Pauline's got her hand up.
Okay. Go first. Let's do committee. Anybody else on the committee? Nope. All right. Pauline?
Thank you, Janet. Quick points. My memory from when the Housing Committee, or Affordable Housing Committee and Affordable Housing Trust were both formed, any acquisition of property would not be by the town, but by private entities, nonprofits, or developers. Am I still correct on that?
I mean, it's, when the town, like you're saying, when the town purchases it, with these funds, what you're talking about is the town doesn't own the property all in all. It's going to end up getting turned over to some other manager, property.
Right. So the town.
That's what you meant. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the town would not do the actual purchase. Let me use an example we are all familiar with because they built 3 houses here. Habitat for Humanity, for example, has built 3 houses and are looking to do another in Ayer, which would be the first community in Middlesex County to have 4. So funds that may be awarded to them from the Affordable Housing Trust or just directly from CPC would fall into this category. Am I understanding this correctly?
I'm gonna say yes. Like what would end up happening is the CPC could go ahead and, purchase some land, and then Habitat could go ahead and then purchase it back, for, be part of it. And I know I hear Alicia's voice inside my head, make sure that, whatever that they're going to be creating becomes forgive me, I'm going to say lip unit, so that it's involved in our inventory.
And
So,
I'm sorry. I share with you Alicia's voice in my head the same because I remember the distinct conversation, and I think she and I had it over a couple of meetings. The town of Ayer does not want to become a landlord.
correct. And that's why it would be good to, like I say, to partner with someone so they get to take it over as being the managing partner. Same thing with the housing authority or whatever. I know Alicia's got her hand up. Go ahead, Alicia.
Well-
Oh, no.
Nope, I'm good. I'd like to hear from Alicia. Thank you.
So there's a couple ways that you can do this. The town or the trust can buy land. They will not be the builder. They will put it out for an RFP,
Mhm.
and the land would then transfer. So at times the towns, if they get a good enough nonprofit builder, might transfer the land to the builder for if they were getting what they wanted for it. So yes, the trust could hold land, but they will not build it and they will not own it when it's built. But they can hold the land temporarily. Or it could be CPC. It could either be one or the other. But the trust was formed to be this intermedium. Sorry, losing my words tonight. To do this transfer part, and then they would go out for an RFP to a nonprofit.
I mean, that makes sense. Pauline?
Sorry, couldn't get the mute button. That's my recollection. So thank you, Alicia.
Okay.
Two other really quick questions. There will be a public hearing on this application for the AFT, from the AFT, correct?
Yeah, at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jess. And the October 19th meeting, can you tell me when and where? I'm sorry, the time and where?
We don't have the time settled down. We're just trying to get it all, squared away.
Okay, fair enough.
The Affordable Housing Committee is hosting a public forum about housing in the future of housing in Ayer. And we're hoping that it can happen down at Town Hall. We might be up in the great room. We might have it so that it goes from the great room downstairs to the hallways or whatever, because again, we're still in the planning stages, and it will more than likely be a evening event, and there will be refreshments and pizza or food.
Well, you are definitely hoping for hundreds of people, so good luck. I'll keep in touch with you and I'll watch for the notices. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, no
Sorry for
problem.
the interruption.
That's right, but just to let people know that, we review the grant agreements first and make sure that it meets the qualifications of CPC. And then after that, the committee then votes to move it to a public hearing. And after the public hearing, then it gets, whether or not it gets voted to move to town meeting. So that's what we're doing now. We're just reviewing the application to see if we can, if it's worthwhile to do the public hearing next month. So, all right. Any other questions from anybody, public, committee? All right, if there is none, can I hear a motion to move this application to a public hearing at our next meeting, which is, I gotta look,
September 6th?
thank you, because I didn't know when, Labor Day's after that, so.
No, Labor Day's 2 days before.
Right, so. All right, so will that be good for our next meeting for being September 6th, and have this be as well as a public hearing for this application? Can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to move the application to a public hearing on September 6th.
All right, Colleen makes the motion. Anybody second?
Second,
Okay, just seconds. All right, let's do a roll call, and I've lost everybody here, so bear with me. Jason?
Yes.
All right, Julie? She's still on mute.
nod your head, Julie.
Okay,
Sorry.
oh, you got it. Yep, we saw that. Colleen?
Yes,
Jess?
Yes,
And the chair says aye. So with that, it's unanimous. We're going to go ahead and have this move to the public hearing on September 6th. So we will see your lovely faces again, Jeff and Alicia. And Colleen, but you're stuck with us anyways.
I'd like to, if I may, Madam Chair, say thank you very much to the CPC for entertaining our request and taking it to the next level. We really do appreciate it. And hopefully this will move forward in creating more housing and increasing the affordable housing stock here in Ayer, Massachusetts. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you very much for all the work that you guys are doing. Definitely having 10 families being assisted in town is impressive.
Well, then I get to say one more unashamed public service announcement. We couldn't do it without Alicia Hersey.
I was just
Alicia
going to say
Hersey.
that.
Alicia Hersey is carrying the water, and she is doing an absolutely amazing job at all times. And I'm sure she's not going to let her video on because she's embarrassed by me. But it's crazy how much she has to juggle to get this done, along with everything else she does here in town. So thank you very much, all. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you as well. You got it. All right. Let me stop sharing this.
yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that we may want to bring up in the open session? All right. I believe we need to, I always goof this up. We need to close out the open session and then make a motion to start the executive session? Or do you make the motion before we
No,
close?
I make the motion. I don't have the exact wording, but I have it close enough. Move that we adjourn from open session to go into executive session per Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, exemption number 6, to discuss the potential purchase of real property where such discussion in public would injure the town's opportunities, whatever. And then to adjourn from the entire meeting from executive session.
All right. Just made the motion. Can I hear a second?
second,
All right, Colleen second. Colleen seconds. Julie? Is that an aye?
Yes.
Jason?
Yep.
Colleen?
yep,
Yes?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. So as of now, we'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the,
No, we don't
No.
need. we
Oh, that's
need-
right. I didn't know if you had to do
Yeah.
the open. Okay, you're right.
So
Okay.
we need to notify Cindy to stop recording. And
Yes.
we now go into executive session.